Hello, my name is Andy and I am the Village Idiot. I'm armed with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. I'm using that time to attempt to visit every civil parish in England. You're watching the East Lindsey series. This is the biggest district in Lincolnshire, containing 188 civil parishes. Without further ado, here's today's offering. Welcome back to East Lindsey again, people. Now, today I've brought you to another really small place. It's not as small as Waddingworth was last time out, but it ain't much bigger, I'll be honest with you. So, where are we? Well, we're in a linear village that's sort of just to the south of Minting and just to the east of Bardney. Now, I've always called this place Gautby, but after a bit of research, I've learnt that it's actually pronounced Gautby. The East Lindsey series is sponsored by Gainsborough Cycles 01427 617 752. For all your cycling needs, this is your one-stop shop, located at 20 Ropery Road, Gainsborough, or online at gainsboroughcycles.com. There's a link in the description. Gainsborough Cycles, ask for Trevor Halstead. Here's my disclaimer for people who may be watching me for the first time. I say things as I would in my native accent and dialect. As a result, I may not pronounce things in the same way as the locals do. Remember, I'm a visitor. It's impossible to know everything. Leave me a comment, spin me a like, and bash that subscribe button. Let's get to today's parish video. Gautby, Gauti's farm. This week in East Lindsey we come to Gautby, located just to the north of Waddingworth and close to the centre of Lincolnshire. Here we are 6 miles away from Horncastle, the nearest big town. Gautby is a tiny village, but the parish includes several tracts of land which once belonged to other settlements. There are two possible deserted medieval villages here, namely Little Minting and Thorley. However, no earthworks have ever been found of either. Unlike Gautby, both are mentioned in the Domesday Book, when Little Minting was recorded as having 28 households and Thorley had 4. Gautby owes a lot of its current existence to the Vyner family. One of its most prominent members was Sir Thomas Vyner, a former Lord Mayor of London. The family lived at the huge Gautby Hall, which was destroyed in 1874. Nothing remains of the building, but there are several other structures in the village which give us a clear indication of how important it was. One of them is a walled garden, which has a claim to fame itself. The most obvious other landmark is the church, which was rebuilt by the Vyners as their own private chapel and still retains many monuments relating to the family. It's a short one, but it's not uninteresting, this. Let's hit the mean streets of Gautby. We start at the eastern end of the village on a track that leads to the Old Hall stables. They belonged to Gautby Hall, which was the ancient seat of the Vyner family. One member, Sir Thomas Vyner, was once the Lord Mayor of London. The hall no longer stands as it was destroyed in 1874. It was often considered to be the grandest mansion in Lincolnshire. It was designed by Matthew Brettingham and sat in Gautby Great Park, which has now reverted to agricultural use. The park does, though, still retain a lake and an island, which had an equestrian statue of Charles I. Here's the church next. This one is dedicated to All Saints and it's a Grade 2 listed building. It's made of red brick, but still incorporates some earlier medieval work. When it was rebuilt in 1754, it was used by the Vyner family as a private chapel. Inside there are two reclining stone monuments which are Vyner related. Originally in St Mary's, Woolnoss in London, they were both erected in 1672 and moved by Sir Robert Vyner when this church was rebuilt. A further memorial, an incised slab, records the murder of Frederick G. Vyner by Greek brigands in 1870. Nice church. As a village today, you'd perhaps think the church is the only thing that's worth a mention. However, I did find some other bits. Right in the centre of civilization there's a bus stop, but this is now not served with any regularity. I was much more interested though in the phone box next to it. This one houses the local defib machine, which isn't something we're unaccustomed to. However, look a little closer. On its windows there's bits of Gautby's history stretching back several centuries. Gautby was famed for a melon, the heaviest ever grown in the east of England. Comments section's going to be good on this video, isn't it? Heavy melons, big melons. Behave yourselves. Okay, let's carry on. There isn't much more to see in this one, to be honest with you, because once we get beyond that phone box, the village hall is on the right hand side just there. That's got a parish notice board, so we'll do the honours with that. Then at that bend you can see up there, the village just kind of comes to a stop, because I've already driven up there and I know there's not much more up there beyond that corner. It's a very small place, isn't it? But you know, equally as interesting as Waddingworth, really, when you think about it. It's got plenty of history and, you know, lots to talk about. Just like I said, behave yourself in the comments. The record-breaking melon was grown in the walled garden, which once belonged to Gautby Hall. The remains of the garden can still be seen along the southern edge of this main road. Now parts of it have been built on with modern property. Behind these houses, by the way, are some brilliant earthworks in a field likely related to Gautby Hall. Across the road we go now to the village hall. This can definitely be described as compact, can't it? I couldn't find a lot about it, but it reminded me of a cricket club pavilion, and given its construction, it wouldn't surprise me if it originally was one once. Here's the parish notice board on the wall, so we'll deal with that while we're here. That's Gautby in the books. The rest of the village is now just a handful of houses between the village hall and the bend where the road turns north towards Bardney. There was one final thing I found of some note though. Overlooking the bend is a tall brick chimney, suggesting there was some sort of industrial presence in the village at one point. What this could have been though is open to debate. It was likely all to do with Gautby Hall, as these farm buildings lie close to the walled garden. Okay, so here we are at the bend then, which I was talking about a moment ago, and that is pretty much the end of civilization. There are a few other isolated farm buildings and houses which are along this road, but to be honest with you, they really aren't worth walking towards, to be honest. The main cluster of the village has been covered just in this very short walk. To give you an idea of how small this place is, if I turn the camera, you can see the entrance to the churchyard over there, which was like virtually the start. So yeah, no matter where you stand in this main sort of cluster in here in Gautby, you're pretty much looking at the whole entire village, almost, I suppose, with a few bits and bobs off to either side. But that's really it. So I'm going to make my way back to the car and we'll head on to the next one. And folks, that's it for Gautby. Mark off another tiny Lincolnshire village and put it with all the others. Next week, we're off only literally a quarter of a mile away as we take on a much larger settlement, one which used to have a priory many centuries ago. I'll see you on its earthworks in 7 days' time. Thanks for watching this video, folks. Don't forget to like this episode if you haven't already. It really makes a difference with YouTube. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and give us a share too if you've got friends who'd like it. You can find all the links to my social media accounts below, as well as my Buy Me a Coffee page where you can donate to the channel. Also, if you've enjoyed this episode, have a look at some more videos in this series. Until next time, I've been Andy, also known as the Village Idiot, and I'm out.